How's it going, everyone? We're back with another weekly watch list. It's crazy. Another week has gone by. Good week in the markets, and it's been a good month so far, and just looking to keep up that momentum. I'm going to be going over my levels and zones for this week, everything I'm going to be watching, basic support and resistance, a big emphasis on previous day high, previous day low. Of course, I use pre-market high and pre-market low as well. 1 second, I do need to pause this. My dog just unplugged my monitor. All right, we're back. So anyways, basic support and resistance. If you've noticed the last few watch lists, if you've been watching, first of all, thank you so much. But also number two, I have not been marking supply and demand, 4 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 45 minute, 30 minute. I've not been marking supply and demand zones. I've honestly removed that from my trading system, and it's been a game changer so far. Everything seems even more simple, even more clear. I always kind of use support and resistance and supply and demand as like a joint strategy, but it just created more noise in my execution, my sizing than anything, Basically, my demand zones are essentially my lows that I have marked. My supply zones are essentially the highs that I have marked. I'm not marking additional zones based off of traditional supply and demand, where you have a large candle followed by following a smaller candle of the opposite color. Like for example, here, this would have been a supply zone, right? Small green, large red. When price comes up here, I'd be looking for shorts. The reason is it was always against the trend for me. I'd have like a supply zone up here. We'd be above the EMAs, we'd be above the previous day high. I just hated going against the trend. And it was, again, like using two strategies at once. So just following what I've always enjoyed most, just a simple break and retest of key levels and trend entries with the EMAs, VWAP, keeping that alignment, keeping it really simple, and it's been amazing so far. All right, so anyways, let's get into it. So previous day high and previous day low are marked. I do have this intraday zone as well, 671. Looking at the hourly time frame here, if we move above this previous day high, my next zone up is this 680. However, I will keep probably a faint level here if we do move up as like a price target at this 679.15, just because it could look like a nice zone, a nice support to resistance flip. Above 680, my next zone is going to be 684.97 and this 686. Below the previous day close and 671, 670 zone, I'll be watching shorts down the previous day low at 663. As far as support goes, on the 4 hour, we double bottomed here. So really not looking, shorts between 663 and 661 are possible, but not ideal because of this wick here on the 4 hour. Ideally, we get underneath 660. My next support's gonna be down here at 658, 657, and then below that 654 to 653, all right? That's gonna be SPY, of course. And again, not gonna show ES just because it's the same exact levels. Let's go over to QQQ on the 1 hour time frame. Over the previous day high, my next zone is 618 to 616. This zone and level was absolutely money for shorts on, I believe, it was Thursday. Super, super nice. So over this 618, my next zone is going to be 626, 624. We do have a daily gap all the way up here at 629. So if price wants to be bullish and we get over these highs here at 618, potentially we move up to fill this gap here. We will have more resistance at 624, 625. Up to 626, but if we do get over that, that gap fill looks clean, all right? I will look at supply and demand, though, on like a weekly and daily time frame, though, for sure, just to go back on that. Same kind of intraday zone here, probably looks a little bit better on the 15-minute. I didn't mark the levels for it on QQQ yet. We'll see just to see how the futures open and do tonight. But again, same thing. Underneath this zone, I'll look at shorts down the previous day low. Below that, as far as support goes, underneath the previous day low, I do have a support zone right underneath it, essentially, at this 595. However, it's just because of these wicks here, it's not really like something I'm really looking to look for a bounce at or anything like that. Underneath the PDL, like I still would look at shorts down to 595. I know it looks like technically there's no space, but this double bottom is really where we bounced, and underneath this is where I'd see sellers get more control to my next major support down here at this double bottom at 590. All right, let's go over to the individuals now. So NVIDIA to kick things off. All right, NVIDIA came down. We had this 4 hour low here down here at 180. This 179 level has been super strong. We technically pretty much double bottomed here and then ripped back up. So as far as levels go, we have our previous day low, but some intraday levels at 183 and 188 just for direction. Underneath this 188, I'll look at puts down to 183, under 183 down to 180, calls over 191 up to my next resistances at 195, and then above that 200. I just have this pre-market level marked as well at 197.15 in case we are in the longs. I am in the longs over 195. Let's go over to AMD. Pretty big range here. I don't really see much intraday levels though. I mean, maybe somewhere around here at this 243, 244 area, 245. Potentially might mark that out. We'll see, but I kept it open for now. Over the previous day high, my next resistance is 260, and then 263 to 267. Below this previous day low, which is a daily gap as well. Plenty of room down to the next support at 224 and 220. So as far as, support zones intraday, again, not really seeing much here. So a pretty big open zone might let AMD, especially at the start of a new week, might let it go and create maybe another zone in here. We'll see. All right. Let's go over to Tesla. Man, Tesla, what a reclaim there. I mean, that was a beautiful move. Looking at the daily here, came down. We have we had a daily gap here that we kind of ripped through. What I was saying originally is like a kind of like a low volume area here. If we pull up the volume profile, which I'm not going to do on camera here, but just like it's very low volume here when we had this move up. So, for downside under that daily gap, I did think that maybe we'd come down to this daily demand here, but bull said elsewhere. Otherwise, we also had this trend line here, which we kind of bounced off of as well. But to keep it simple, we have our previous day high, we have our previous day low. We have this level in between, which I was watching here. We did get a little bit of resistance at this previous day low. It did take a very, very small loss on Tesla on Friday, which I did make up for like 4 times on NVIDIA calls, which was great. But over the previous day high, my next resistance is up at 417 and 424. I believe, do we have a daily gap here on Tesla as well? Not really. So as far as resistances go, back on the hourly, we just have a bunch of levels on the way up. So we'll see what Tesla wants to do. Haven't been day trading Tesla at all, other than that PDL on Friday, but that's it. Just because this range has just been not ideal for me personally. Let's go over to Apple. Apple has been disgusting. I'm not interested in Apple at all until we either break below 263 or we break above 270, honestly 276. I know we have this zone up here, but like this entire range has been diabolical, so I'm not interested in that. Google, the Warren Buffett news was crazy. So Berkshire Hathaway bought, was like 18 million shares, something like that. So we're already over the previous day high. So I'll look for these levels. I'll keep them on. I'll look for them to hold as retests for longs, but we do have a daily gap at 278, which we're already peaking over already. So above that 287, my next zone is going to be 291 and then 299, the all-time high. But honestly, after that announcement from Buffett, it looks like we're going to fill this gap pretty quickly and probably hit a new all-time high. So we'll see. As far as supports go, if it reverses underneath PDL, my next supports are 267, 264, and daily gap at 261. Lastly, to wrap it up, we have Amazon. Oops, wrong ticker there. Again, sell off like a lot of the market this past week. Over the previous day high, my next resistance is going to be up here at 243 underneath the previous day low, which was the daily gap. I have 228, and then down here at 223 where we saw that earnings move. We'll see if Amazon wants to come down and retest where that earnings move was, or from this high here before earnings. Let's see if we want to just hold this area. That's obviously what I had marked out. Looks like we are so far, and move back higher. Again, we do have a daily gap here at 247. Actually, you know what? It's already filled already, so I'm going to take that off the chart. So no gaps here on the daily. We do have one daily for the underneath us, all right, that we did just bounce right here at 232. So that's, again, we'll look for that to hold. So that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, appreciate you very, very much. If you did enjoy the video, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribing, even sharing the video. It would mean the absolute world to me. I hope you all have a blessed week inside and outside the market, and I will see you all in the next watch list. Peace.